Welcome to Monza, everyone. It's Sunday for the International GT Open, round number 4 of the 2020 season. My name is Chris McCarthy. Thank you very much for joining us. 60-minute race coming up for you. It's going to be a cracker. If it was anything like yesterday, then it's going to go by very quickly. I can assure you that. A brilliant race yesterday. We made history the first time we had a Bentley stand on the top step of the podium. More about that later. Team Lazarus winning on home soil. There you can see the cars are forming up. Beautiful backdrop, isn't it, here in Monza? Just 30 minutes away from Milan. Cars coming to the grid now to get themselves ready to go racing. 15 minutes away from the lights going green here in Monza. As I said, it was a really good race yesterday. We had on the top step of the podium Fabrizio Crestani and Yannick Mettler. They put a Bentley on the top step for the first time, and they won very convincingly as well. Considering this season they've had, regular viewers will know that they hadn't been on the podium coming into this round. One of their cars hasn't even finished, but they were on the top step. However, on the top step today could very much be this car, the Teo Martin Motorsport car, the championship leaders of Enrique Chavez and birthday boy Miguel Ramos celebrated his birthday yesterday. Let's see if they can end his birthday weekend with some champagne on the top step. They're going to be on the front row. Alongside them, the other Teo Martin Motorsport car, the Pro-Am car of Alam Coder, will be starting alongside. See how those guys do. Alam Coder and Marcelo Hahn in that car. Brilliant performance from them in qualifying. Likewise from these guys, they won yesterday. It does mean they're carrying a success penalty. 90 seconds they're going to have to serve in the pits, unlike Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos, who will do 75. So a tough job for them today. I think they know that. They're going to be on the inside of row number 2. Fabrizio Crestani will start today. And starting for TF Sport, he put in a sensational performance yesterday. Charlie Eastwood to bring the car home in second place with a move round the outside at the final corner. A drag race up to the line. Charlie Eastwood getting in second place. Really good race it was to watch. We didn't see much of these guys. Patrick Kaprinski and Christian Klein finished down the order by their standards yesterday. They finished down in 10th place, but Christian did a good job in qualifying. He starts the race. It's going to be a very exciting start, I can tell you that. Some heavy hitters at the front of the field. Likewise, these guys, and they need a good result. They didn't have a good running by their standards yesterday. Finished down in 7th. Louis Pret will start in the car for the AF Corsa team. It does mean that they're only going to do 75 seconds in the pits, though, so they've got a good chance to move through today, particularly when we get to that pit stop phase. Likewise to these guys, Stefan Ortelli and Angelo Negro will start down the field. Stefan Ortelli just got caught in a battle down the field yesterday, couldn't quite get out of it. He starts in 7th today, and he will be looking to make progress very quickly. Chance of a Pro-Am podium for them. Christian Hahn will be next on the grid. He and Bar Barach making his first race in International GT Open. It's his debut. It's the 3rd Teo Martin Motorsport car that they've entered for the weekend, and Christian Hahn will start it on row number 4. Then we move to row number 5. Daniele Diamato is going to take the start for RS Racing. They had a penalty before the race started yesterday. Unfortunately, that got them off to a bad start, and they never really got going. Let's see what they can do again. Of course, they're down on experience compared to the rest of the field. So let's see what they can do. Then we come to this car. It's your AM leader, Alexei Nezov and Alexander Moseev. Alexei's going to start in the car today. Now, in the championship, these guys are moving very close to the top of it. They're just 3 points back from Florian Schultz and Jens Liebhauser. They'll be hoping to make that 2 by the end of this race. Then we come to the F4, Florian Schultz and Jens Liebhauser. They start just behind them on row number 6, so a really close battle between these two. They were very closely matched in the race yesterday, so this is going to be a real entertaining fight to watch down at the middle order of the field. Then we come to the first of the Optimum Motorsport cars. Brendan Irib had his hands full yesterday with some of the best drivers on the grid at the front. Brendan Irib there, the AM driver in the car, so nowhere near as much experience as those guys, but he put on a good show, as did this man here, one of the drivers of the race, in my opinion. Nick Moss did a really good job yesterday to fight and get that car 3rd on the podium. Joe Osborne putting in the first in, did a really good job, and then Nick Moss brought it home 3rd and with a Pro-Am class win. would have been second if they didn't have the penalty that they were carrying. GT Cup Open cars also on the grid. This is the first of them. Aldo Vestante took the win yesterday on home soil and took the championship lead with it as well. So Aldo Vestante leads by 5 points in the championship now. He's going to head the field in GT Cup Open. Second, higher up than they went yesterday, Antonio Cumbra and Lewis Silva finished way off the back yesterday, but they found pace overnight, and Antonio Cumbra is going to start in the car for them. Let's see if he can bring it in to the pit lane in the lead. They'll be hoping for more of a battle than they had yesterday. A bit of a lonely race for them yesterday. Not for these guys, though, because they fought for the lead for a long time in the race, finished 14 seconds back in the end. Daniel Diaz-Varela and Manuel Cerqueda. Let's see what they can do. They're going to be starting third in class, 5 points back in terms of the championship on your leader, Aldo Vestante. So there's a look at the grid. Conditions pretty good out there. It's really warmed up, actually, compared to this morning, and definitely warmer than it was yesterday as well. Let's see if it hots up out on track. It's going to be a good race, I'm sure. Success penalties will come into play. We'll talk more about that as the race goes on. Your leaders in the championship and on the track do not have one, so that's going to give them a bit of an advantage in this race, but it's almost what they wanted. For the likes of Eastwood and Ulick, they are going to be in the pits longer than anyone else, so they've got a bit of a task on their hands. But if anyone can, Charlie can. Let's look back at the highlights from yesterday then. So Yannick Mettler led them away from pole position. Sitting in the green and black there, that was Joe Osborne trying to get his way through into second place past the AF Corsa car, and he would. This was the moment that the TF Sport car made contact with the McLaren, and everyone else just about getting through safely. It got a bit congested. Stefano Coletti, who's ahead of us there, he picked up damage, unfortunately, and would be straight into the pits. This was the battle in GT Cup Open Europe. Aldo Vestante going down the inside of Manuel Cerqueda. He would go on to win that class, that potentially the race-winning move. It was all going off behind, though. Brendan Irib here trying to hold off 3 drivers, one of them being Charlie Eastwood, who made 2 moves into that corner, and a corner later, he would go through into third place. Then he would take the fight to the driver in second place. Charlie Eastwood there going through to third. But out front, we made history. We put a Bentley on the top step for the first time, thanks to Yannick Mettler and Fabrizio Crestani, who won on home soil. Race number 2, very close to getting underway. Really excited for this one. The last 20 minutes of the race, particularly yesterday, were very, very exciting. And I'm sure this one is going to be just the same. Let's tell you the order they're going to start in, though, before we have the green light. Enrique Chavez is going to be on the front row. Alan Coder, his teammate in Pro-Am, will start alongside. Then we move to row number 2, Fabrizio Crestani, your winners yesterday on the inside of row 2. Second place yesterday, starting on the outside of row 2. Charlie Eastwood will pilot the car for the first stint. Then we go to row 3, second in Pro-Am classes, Christian Klein, Louis Pret. They need a good result to keep in this championship fight. They start on the outside of row 3. Row 4, Stefan Ortelli and Christian Hahn. It's going to be interesting to see how those guys go in the first phases of this race. 2 guys that like to overtake. Then we have Daniele Diamato starting on row 5. Alexei Nezov second in the championship in AM, but leading the class here today. Florian Schultz will be hoping to change that, though. He is second in AM and 11th place. Brendan Irib down in 12th place. And a busy race for him yesterday. Likewise for Nick Boss, who went on to finish 3rd overall. Aldo Vestante looking to do the double on home soil in GT Cup Open Europe. And behind him, 2 drivers that will want to change that in Antonio Combra and Daniel Diaz-Varela. The drivers have been set off. There you can see the safety car leading them round, the number 59 at the head of the field, Enrique Chavez. We're building up then this round number 4 of the season. We're into the second half now. After this, in just a few weeks, in fact, we go to Spa-Francorchamps in the middle of October, and then at the very end of October / start of November, we end the season at Barcelona. Been fantastic to have had the opportunity to travel around with the championship, particularly in these times, and it's good to have the racing still going on. The championship working incredibly hard to bring this action to you, and I have to say all the efforts are definitely paying off with some of the racing we have seen. Not just the organisers, but likewise the teams putting in just as much effort just to get to the events, and when they are here, I'll tell you what, they're putting on a good show for us spectators, aren't they? Anyone who watched the race yesterday would know that. We've had great races all season. Red Bull Ring didn't disappoint. One of the races at Paul Ricard was one of the best races I maybe commentate on. A really brilliant race it was at Paul Ricard, and Hungary was another good one as well. It's no dull races this season, to say that with complete honesty. But Monza, we all love it. Very quick track. Lots of straights, lots of slipstreaming, lots of places to overtake. On board with a car that definitely suits this track, the Bentley, as proven yesterday, went on to win. But it wasn't just all about the car. It was from the off. The Lazarus team were fighting hard. They'd almost forgotten about what had happened coming in the first 2 rounds, and treated this as almost a fresh start. And a fresh start, well, they got off to a pretty good one, didn't they? A very convincing win. It's going to be hard for them to repeat that with the handicap that they have of 90 seconds. They're effectively 15 seconds down on Enrique Chavez as the race goes green, but likewise Charlie Eastwood, they're 25 down. But let's see what they can do. It's never say never in International GT Open. Cars are forming up though. When we get to 28 minutes in, we're going to see the pit stops take place. But for now, everyone getting ready to watch the race start. It's Miguel Ramos' birthday yesterday. Let's see if they can celebrate it with a win today. Some nervous faces out there, and that's because very soon we're going to see the green light. This round number 4, the second day of racing in the International GT Open. The cars coming round the final corner now, being led by the 2 Teo Martin Motorsport cars. Enrique Chavez, he will be to the left of your picture, and to the right of your picture will be Alan Coder, Pro and Pro-Am leader, together on the front row. And then just behind that, yesterday's winners in the Bentley is, of course, Fabrizio Crestani, and then the red TF Sport car, that will be Charlie Eastwood. We go up to the line now. Red lights are on. When they go out, foots will be to the floor, and they are now down towards the first corner we go. 60-minute clock is now ticking as the cars charge past the commentary box window. Down towards the first chicane we go. Let's hope we all get through nice and safely. We're on board with Stefan Ortelli, trying to find a gap in the middle there. We're 3 wide going into the first chicane. Oh, and we've got the Bentley going straight across the chicane. So Team Lazarus in trouble. Christian Klein in trouble as well. He rejoins the circuit just ahead of us here as they now go up towards Curva Grande. But Enrique Chavez seems to have got a little bit of a gap. Alan Coder then in second place with his hands full. Back on board we go with Stefan Ortelli. He's got Christian Klein to his right. To his left looks to be Louis Pret as they now come into the second chicane for the first time. Oh, and I think we might have all just about got through safely. Yes, so thankfully 1 or 2 cars just kicking up a little bit of gravel, but other than that we are through as Alexei Nezov tries a brave move there down the inside on one of the AF Course cars. Doesn't quite get through, but a good attempt nevertheless. Now on board we are with Fabrizio Crestani, as they come out of Lesmo 2 and make their way down to Ascari. So, well, although Fabrizio Crestani had to take a little bit of a trip over the curbs, I think he's just about going all right. He's got Charlie Eastwood in behind him in 4th place. What that has done, though, is given Enrique Chavez a little bit of a gap out front. Alan Coder in 2nd place. They were 3 wide momentarily, weren't they? I think it was Coder and Crestani also involved in that. But in the end, Chavez emerging in the lead. So Chavez leads, Coder second, the black Bentley, that is Crestani, the red Aston Martin is then Eastwood. This is Daniele Diamato. What a start they have made from 9th place. The RS Racing car is up into 5th. So on home soil, Daniele Diamato up into 5th place in the early stages of this race as we complete lap number 1. 59 minutes remaining in the race. Daniele Diamato's got to be careful though. Christian Klein in that gold and black Mercedes trying to challenge him down towards turn number 1. They hit the brakes now for the second time into the first chicane. Oh dear, that is Charlie Eastwood running wide. Just about avoids contact with the RS racing car, and Charlie Eastwood, a rare mistake from the Northern Irishman there. Just got his braking a little bit wrong, and now he might be punished for that because he's got the RS racing car just behind him. This is the view from Stefan Ortelli, who is about 3 places back from this. There you can see with the lights on, that is Eastwood. The red Ferrari there, that is Daniele Diamato in the background. The white Mercedes you saw, that was Alexei Nezov trying to get down the inside of Stefan Ortelli, and did so successfully. So good move from Alexei Nezov as he gets himself up into 8th place. But this second train of cars being led by Charlie Eastwood into Lesmo 2 now. This is Alexei Nezov in the white Mercedes there. A little bit further back, these are the two Optimum, one of the Optimum Motorsports cars. They're being separated by the Teo Martin Motorsport car as they now make their way downhill. So it's Irib, Hahn and Moss in that order. Aldo Vestante leads the GT Cup Open Europe class, but only just about from Antonio Combra, who is about a second back from him. Over Ascari now, all the cars filing through. So I say just about, it's a little bit bigger than I thought. So 2 seconds he's brought that gap up to now. So good driving from Vestante. There is Antonio Combra, who kept him very honest in qualifying, but currently struggling in the early phases of this race. Daniel Diaz Varela likewise struggling to keep up with Antonio Combra. But we still have pit stops to do, and that is often when those changes can flip on their heads. Chavez goes across the line to complete another lap, and his gap now 1.1 seconds over Alain Coder. Crestani a further, only a further second back. Sorry, there you can see the Bentley just getting a little bit out of shape. Oh dear, that's Daniele Diamato getting it a little bit wrong. Christian Klein is now going to close in on him. This is the onboard view from Stefan Ortelli. Up to Curva Grande they go, and Christian Klein all over the back of Daniele Diamato now as they go through Curva Grande and make their way down to the second chicane. Christian Klein, you can see that red Ferrari having to defend the gold and black Mercedes, now goes to the outside. That is Christian Klein. Is he going to be able to get the switch back here up towards Lesmo 2? Not quite. He's going to have to go for the outside. So Christian Klein on the outside, the RS racing car continuing to defend. I remind you that Diamato has come up from 9th on the grid, so you'd say this is unknown territory for RS Racing in terms of this weekend. They did have a podium here when they last raced in the championship back in 2018. But for this weekend, they still are finding their feet a little bit as we go into Ascari. Leaders tilting its way in. Chavez from Coder, from Crestani, from Eastwood. This is the main battle on track though. Diamato ahead of Christian Klein. Diamato at the moment is second in the Pro-Am class, so doing a very good job. Overall maybe 5th, but second in class, and you can see having to defend there. Diamato white lining it almost. This is Aldo Vestante, who's got his gap now up to 3.5 seconds. Doing a fantastic job is Vestante. This queue though for 5th place is building all the time. Here's Christian Hahn down in 13th so far, but Diamato in that red Ferrari coming into picture now. There you can see him over to the white line, having to defend from Christian Klein, who's in the tow and will pull out to the right-hand side of picture now. There goes Christian Klein pulling out. Can he get through? Can he get round the inside? He's going to give it a go. Christian Klein, oh no, he's going to have to cut the chicane. Didn't quite get through. He gave it a good go, didn't he? But Christian Klein will now have to give that place back. The only risk you do with doing things like that is picking up damage, so he's got to be careful, but it was sensible in the end to back out of it. Christian Klein has given the place back, but he's now put himself under pressure. Louis Pret in the AF Corsa, which is challenging for the championship, is now going to challenge for position down into the chicane, but Alexei Nezov in that white Mercedes goes round the outside. Oh, what a move! The AM driver there, Alexei Nezov, going round the outside of a race winner in the Pro class this season, and Alexei Nezov, turning into one of the stars of the show here, gets himself up into 7th place. Stefan Ortelli we go on board with now. He's staring at the back of Louis Pret. They just can't seem to get going this weekend. This is down where they finished yesterday, and overnight they haven't seemed to have found pace. The two Optimum Motorsport cars are now together. Diamato in this red Ferrari still defending. Here's now the 2A, of course, cars together in Pret and Ortelli as they make their way out of Ascari and down towards the Parabolica. Great onboard shots here of Stefan Ortelli. Down towards Parabolica at turn 1. Any instance at turn 1. No further action. Oh, and round the outside, Christian Klein is going to try and go all the way round the outside, and he's pulled it off. Fantastic driving from Christian Klein round the outside of the RS racing car, and that's going to put him up into 5th place. And it gets worse for Daniele Di Amato because Alexei Nezov now goes through in the white and green Mercedes. So Alexei Nezov now taking that place up to 6th place overall. Alexei Nezov may have to defend slightly. You've got that red Ferrari on the inside there of Di Amato. He's now got Pret trying to pass him over the curves there. That's Florian Schultz in the background, who has gone off in the other JP car, now rejoins. Now that's the car second in AM as it rejoins, but this side by side, this is Louis Pret going around the outside of Daniele Di Amato, who may be carrying a problem here because Daniele Di Amato slowing down. Up in the distance, so I can see Alexei Nezov going to the outside of Christian Klein. Side by side now, a switchback move for Alexei Nezov. Can he get it done on the exit? Not quite. Christian Klein defending, and Christian Klein is going to hold on for the time being. Through Lesmo 1, now up towards Lesmo 2. The AM driver here, Alexei Nezov, well, doing an absolutely brilliant job. Wouldn't look out of place in a pro car, would he, at the moment, Alexei Nezov, with the performance he's putting in. Charlie Eastwood looks to be closing in on Fabrizio Crestani. That gap is down to 0.7 of a second, but this the main focus on track. Daniele Di Amato there is now having to defend once again from, this time, Florian Schultz, who we saw make that mistake at the turn 1 chicane. Then behind that, we have Christian Hahn, who has got past Brendan Irib, has dropped the 2 Optimum Motorsport cars, and is now going after this battle for 9th place. Through the Parabolica, this on lap number 5 now. Track limits being experimented with there from Christian Klein. You've got to be careful of that. Penalties will be awarded. Down the start-finish straight, Alexei Nezov, we can see there, been getting all the TV time, but in the background you can see that is Stefan Ortelli. Is it involved in that? No, this is Florian Schultz trying to make a move on Di Amato and not quite able to do it. Runs over the curb and is going to have to give that place back. So Florian Schultz on the exit will have to allow Daniele Di Amato back through. Daniele Di Amato is going to be on the outside here as they make their way around Curva Grande. Just in behind this as well, we've got Christian Hahn. Christian Hahn trying to make places as up ahead, Alexei Nezov just looking left and then right, all under braking. Don't know how he's keeping that car under control. Oh, in the background, we're having some changes, but we'll focus on where we're looking for the time being. Alexei Nezov still trying to get past Christian Klein here as they go up towards Lesmo 2. Behind this, we've got Stefan Ortelli and Louis Pret in reverse order. Here's Daniele Di Amato, so he's lost further places now, and I do fear he is carrying a problem because that's Florian Schultz and Christian Hahn who has both gone through. As we approach just 10 minutes in, 10 minutes down, 50 more to go. Told you it was going to be a busy one. Here's a replay of the start. So we were 3 wide, the Teo Martin Motorsport cars. On the very outside is the Lazarus car. Lazarus car with nowhere to go but across the curb. Likewise, drivers in the background having to take to the runoff area, one of them being Christian Klein, who rejoined. So this is on board with the Lazarus car. So in the middle there, that's Alan Coder, and then further off to our right is Enrique Chavez. Crestani's going to try and go round the outside, but nowhere to go. And in the end, I think Crestani just took far too much speed into that corner as well. Wasn't really going to make it. Nowhere to go, you can see there, and has to run wide. It all started because Enrique Chavez ran wide, basically. He was on the inside, he ran wide, and that just created a kind of Constantina effect. He runs wide, so the guy alongside him's going to run wide, and then the guy on the outside, well, there's just going to be nowhere to go, isn't there? So a tiny mistake from Enrique Chavez under braking, and that pretty much caused all of that. But everyone got going, and got going safely. But now we have a battle for third. So that Lazarus car that we did see running wide, oh dear, this is Daniele Di Amato. So we did fear that there was a problem. They're looking at the back of the car, and I think that is the reason why Daniele Di Amato's start that got him up to 5th, then unfortunately turned into him tumbling down the order, that wasn't because of just raw pace. That's because he was carrying a problem, and it became quite evident in the end how easily people were getting past him. What a shame. It's been great to have RS Racing back with us, and it would be a huge shame if we couldn't see them take the checkered flag. Sadly, the second Lazarus car we will not see out there. Complete repeat of the Hungaroring with Stefano Coletti and Nico Verone. They had a problem in the first race, picking up damage at the start. We didn't see them again. They went straight back to the pits after the first lap, and they didn't take part in qualifying nor the race. So huge shame, but we hope to see them back out doing what we now know the Lazarus Bentley is capable of at Spa. Battle for third on screen. Crestani versus Eastwood. Down towards the first chicane we go. Two teams that are carrying handicaps after their results yesterday. So really, they could do, the less they fight, the better. But I don't think Eastwood has caught Crestani, so there's absolutely no way that he is going to sit behind. Now towards the second chicane, and Crestani holding off Eastwood. But Eastwood looks like he's lining up a move, if not this lap, potentially the next one. Nezov still crawling all over the back of Christian Klein as well. Down towards Lesmo 2. And Crestani doing a great job here, but I don't think he will want to fight Eastwood too hard with that handicap that they're carrying. On board then, never wondered what it's like to be in a Bentley going up towards Ascari. This is kind of what it feels like, uphill into Ascari. Great views from that Bentley, I have to say. I've said it before, but it has turned into perhaps my favourite car in the series. It's a real big fan of that. Enrique Chavez and Adam Coder turn into Parabolica. Shortly they'll be followed by these guys, and up in the top of picture you may have seen Christian Klein having to defend from not just Nezov, but Nezov, Pret and Ortelli. So he's got his hands full. The two leaders arguably working together here, the two Teo Martin Motorsport cars, two class leaders. These guys in the same class though, Crestani and Eastwood. Championship-wise, Eastwood not too far behind Chavez, Eastwood and Sally Ulick. They've really closed the gap down to Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos. It's now only 4 points. Very close indeed. You get 15 for a win, 12 for second, 10 for third, and then it goes down in twos, top 10 scoring points. So at this current stage, 15 points would go to Enrique Chavez. The Eastwood car would get 8, so it would open up again to around 11 points. Nevertheless, that would be very close still. It would be a little bit more than what it was coming into this round, but still close. But there's a long way to go. There's 45 minutes to go, and there is a very good chance that Eastwood could get through and reduce that deficit by getting past Fabrizio Crestani. And there's every chance that these two could start fighting as well. I highly doubt it, but you never know. Once we have the pit stops as well, that's always where we see things change. This is the stage of the race where things are just settling down a little bit. I can't say that's the case for the battle for 5th up in the background. But there is Yannick Mettler. Yannick Mettler getting himself ready to go. Watching on for the time being, but very shortly he will be getting his crash helmet on and getting ready to go for the pit stops. Pit stops not very far away, only about 10 minutes to go before we have those. So your two leaders coming into the first chicane. Here is the battle for third place. Let's do a full run through of the order. We're 15 minutes in, quarter-way distance. Let's do a full run through. Enrique Chavez leads the way in the number 59 Teo Martin Motorsport car. Then it's Alan Coder, 6/10 back. 6.5 second gap then back to the Crestani-Eastwood battle. Christian Klein second in the Pro-Am class and 5th. Alexei Nezov just behind him leads in AM. He is in 6th place. Louis Pret, 7th place. They continue to struggle to the AF Corsa team. Let's see if they can turn it round in the second half of this race. Stefan Ortelli is just behind them, so could make that even worse if Stefan Ortelli decides to put in a move. He's 3rd in Pro-Am. Then we have Florian Schultz 2nd in AM, Christian Hahn in 10th. Then we have the 2 Optimum cars of Brendan Irebe and Nick Moss. Out of Estante leads GT Cup Open Europe by 10 seconds over Antonio Comba, Daniel Diaz-Varela and Daniele Di Amato round out the field. Daniele Di Amato in the pit lane. So yet to fix that damage. Let's hope that they do get back out there though. Out of Ascari, this is your battle for 3rd place, continuing to go on. You can see Alan Codet isn't even sitting in the toe of Enrique Chavez. A clear sign that they are in no mood to go past. Certainly in no rush to do so. Pit stops are coming up. Round the final corner then. Eastwood still trying to make this move on Fabrizio Crestani. Just can't quite do it so far. Down towards the first chicane. We're really not far away, just over 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes to be exact, until we have the driver swaps. This is the great battle though. This is your battle for 5th place. Christian Klein ahead of Alexei Nezov. Then we have Pret and Ortelli. They make their way out of the first chicane now, up to Curva Grande. 3 sets of battles going on here within the top 8 positions. We've got your battle for the lead, the battle for 3rd. Then behind that, a 4-way battle for 5th place. All going off. If you look away from one battle, then you know something's going to happen in the other. It's one of those situations, isn't it? Out of Lesmo 1, up towards Lesmo 2. This is where Charlie Eastwood seems quicker. But once we hit the straights, that Bentley just seems to have the legs over the Aston Martin, as being proved here. Look, you can just see it pulling away a little bit, going down to Ascari. So Eastwood struggling to make a move currently. And Crestani, though, I mean, I say he's struggling to make a move, but Crestani took that car home to victory yesterday. Did so by 34 seconds, so, you know, he's not going to be easy to get past, is he? Let alone even keep up with. This is a good battle, though. Here we go. This is Klein, Nezov, Pret and Ortelli in that order. They make their way into Parabolica now. We pick up Stefan Ortelli, who currently sits at the back of it in the number 48. Very soon the pit lane's going to get very busy, and that's when the race becomes a little bit confusing for about 15 minutes. Into the first chicane. Look how evenly matched they are. I mean, if you had to guess how evenly matched they were, it probably wouldn't be too far away from that. Oh no, but kicking up the gravel there. That's Sela Ulick. He's watching on. His teammate Charlie Eastwood, and just kicking up the gravel a little bit there was Fabrizio Crestani. That may just open up an opportunity here for Charlie Eastwood as they go down towards the second chicane. You can see the gap has now come down as a result of that, and this is where Charlie Eastwood is quicker. Through this second chicane and through the Lesmos, this is where Charlie Eastwood seems to have the legs on Fabrizio Crestani. Still unable to get through, and the plans will now be being made, if they haven't done already. What do we do? When do we come in? Do we come in early, or do we, you know, split the race in half, or do we do it at the end? Those are usually the 3 options, but they can quite easily change. You've got to work out, of course, where you're going to come back onto the track. If Crestani comes in, does that mean Eastwood stays out, or do you follow him in? These are the options that you will be weighing up. Chavez and Coder in that order still. They now tilt their way into Parabolica. Everyone's so evenly matched out there. 2.5 minutes to go until we get to the pit stops. When that clock in the top left of your screen hits 36 minutes, that's when the pit stop window will open. Just getting a little bit out of shape there was Crestani. Charlie Eastwood might be getting a little bit closer now. You can almost not see Charlie Eastwood, how big that Bentley is as they come down towards the first hairpin. We have a little look back now. This is Louis Pret, who sits in 7th place. Back to the battle for 3rd. No changes as Charlie Eastwood almost pushing Fabrizio Crestani through the first chicane. You can see out of the first chicane, pushing him along. Charlie Eastwood, how can he see where he's going when he's in behind that Bentley? Must be very difficult just going off where he is. Sometimes I think he's pulling out of the toe just to see where he is as he makes his way into the 2nd chicane. Can he get the switch back and get into Lesmo 1? Yes, there's a small mistake. Here's an opportunity now for Eastwood. Crestani running just a little bit wide. He might have dirty tyres now for the next couple of corners, but I think he's just about done enough to save it. Good driving in the end in terms of the recovery for Crestani there, just to hold off Charlie Eastwood, who would have pounced if that opportunity come up. Didn't quite have the legs in the end to do it, but came very close. These guys are now 10 seconds back from Chavez and Coder. And going past traffic, that for the first time in the race, that's Daniel Diaz Varela they just went past, who's 3rd in GT Cup Open Europe. In terms of your gap between Vestante and Silva, it's basically what it was at the line yesterday. Up towards the start-finish line. Round Curva Grande, now we go. And this is your battle for 3rd place. We pick it up once again. Fabrizio Crestani and Charlie Eastwood. Down towards the 2nd hairpin. Fabrizio Crestani into hairpin number 2. Doing a great job to hold off Charlie Eastwood. So far, we no changes in this battle, but driver changes is now on. It's going to be on for 12 minutes. So who's going to come into the pits first? Some drivers will be in at the end of this lap. Some drivers will wait until the final moment. We've had a warning actually for Nick Moss in the 72. Track limits at turn number 10, so that is actually coming out of Viscari. Well, I say if you run track limits there, you've probably slowed yourself down more than anything, but that is just on the exit there, so that's probably have gone onto the sort of escape road. I guess that's where that is. Now, Nick Moss has actually gone past Brendan Irib, so that's a change that's only just happened. Into the pits, Miguel Ramos. So your race leader, championship leader in, number 59, pulls into the pits. Miguel Ramos, it was his birthday yesterday. He's going to jump in. And Enrique Chavez, I don't know if he was a little bit upset with something there. Yannick Metler is now going to jump into that number 26. Fabrizio Crestani bringing that car in 3rd place. So that releases Charlie Eastwood. Daniel Diaz Varela comes into the pits as well. Manos Cerqueda will jump into that car who started the race for them yesterday. Alan Coder leads the race now for the time being. So Joe Osborne jumps into the Optima Motorsport car. He did a great job yesterday, did Joe Osborne, fighting for the lead overall at some stages until the Bentley got away, but he was 2nd overall when he brought that car in. Abrill's going to jump in for Pret, so the pit lane very busy. Around half the field have come in, so pretty busy pit stops. You'd have to guess the ones that have stayed out will remain out until pretty much the end of it. As I said, there's tends to be two routes you go. You either come straight in. If you're a Pro-Am team, essentially, if the Am driver's out, then you come straight in. If the Pro driver's out, you stay out. If you're the Pro team or the Am team, it can go either way, really. I think it just depends how things are going. Now, out of Estante's just come out there ahead of one of the Teo Motorsport cars. I think that's the one that came into the pits of Ramos. There is the number 16. That is Alan Coder. He has yet to come into the pits, so Alan Coder remains out. He will hand over to Marcelo Hahn. Marcelo Hahn is now your championship leader in Pro-Am. And you can see why. They're fighting for the lead in the championship with Christian Klein and Patrick Koprinski. The points difference between the pair, only 4. And I say Marcelo Hahn and not Alan Coder, because Alan Coder, this is his second round this season. Marcelo Hahn has shared that car with a couple of different people so far over the year, but Alan Coder shared it with him at the Hungaroring and took 2 second places. So when Alan Coder has been in that car, so far they finished second in every single race. Not a bad bit of form, that, is it? But I think he may be getting a little bit sick of finishing second, and so far he's given himself a very good chance to turn what has been 8 points every round into 10. He's going past the Bentley that has been into the pits. Yannick Mettler now in the chair for them, so Alan Coder is going to try and go past, but doesn't quite get past. That is a Pro car, of course, that's ahead. It is a lap down, though, having been into the pits. Alan Coder trying his best. I've just seen out of Estante into the pits to the right of screen, so he comes in. Charlie Eastwood yet to come in to hand the car over to Sally Ulick. Christian Klein, when he comes in, he will hand it over to Patrick Koprinski. Nezov yet to come in, Ortelli likewise, and Schultz. Christian Hahn hasn't come in either, so the top 7 to the left-hand side of your screen are the cars that are yet to come in. And there is space being left there on the inside, but that could be argued as a more defensive line from Yannick Mettler here. Behind him is race leader Alan Coder, but this is the car that was third coming in to before the pits started. Alan Coder doing his best to get through. All these two are doing is delaying each other. Right, this is second in Am now into the pits. Jens Lieberhauser will jump in. Florian Schultz gets out. Halfway through the pit stop phase. 6 minutes now remaining. As we go on board with Yannick Mettler, and now ahead of him, that is Alan Coder. So the race leader has now got ahead. He's not only the race leader, but leader in Pro-Am as well. And this isn't actually bad for Yannick Mettler. You know, Alan Coder with the pace he's showing. He is a Pro driver. You have to remember that. As, oh, this is getting busy, isn't it, out on circuit? Down towards Ascari we go. I think that was the Ortelli car that we were on board with. Getting a little bit busy out there. Of course, he was in that really hectic battle. But Stefan Ortelli, he will hand the car over if he hasn't already. No, he's still in 5th, so he's still out there at the moment. But when he does come in, he will hand it over to Angelo Negro. So this is the race leader, Alan Coder. They are carrying a handicap, so whether they will be leading overall afterwards, I'm not too sure, of course. Enrique Chavez was the car leading. There is the 16 making its way out of the first corner. Now, just behind him is the other McLaren, and that is Bar Baric. Bar Baric has come out of the pit in the number 57. So the Israeli driver racing in the championship for the first time this weekend. Did a great job yesterday, did Bar Baric. Let's see if he can do the same today. He's been given the car down the lower order of the top 10. See what he can do. The drivers yet to come in. Coder, one of them. Eastwood, another. Klein, Nezov, Ortelli. 5 drivers remain out on circuit. Everyone else has come in. Once they have done that, we'll do a full run through of the order I'll bring you up to speed exactly where we are, where your championship leaders are, that he wants to watch likewise. Into Ascari, Alan Coder has 4 more minutes left out on track before he will have to come in. He's got time to do, I'd say, about 2 more laps if he wants to. In fact, I don't think he will. He might only be able to do 1 more after this. And it'll be quite tight, actually, whether he can do 2 more. You've got to get into the pit lane before that clock hits 0. You've got to be in the pit lane. So he might just about have time for 2. We'll see next time when he crosses the line. Drivers waiting in the pit lane to take over the seats. Miguel Ramos and Vincent Abriel, they are split by about, let's have a look on the timer screen, not a huge amount. This is by 19 seconds, so that is the difference between Miguel Ramos and Abriel. Of course, Miguel Ramos, his birthday this weekend. In comes Stefan Ortelli. He's now coming into the pits. Angelo Negro will jump in, so Stefan Ortelli jumps out. Pat on the back, good luck, sir, and Angelo Negro will jump in. This is the number 16, Alan Coder, through Lesmo 2. Just over 2 minutes remaining. We may see him in this lap now. Stefan Ortelli has come in. 4 drivers yet to pit. They are the first 4 in the standings. And there you can see, well, Antonio Combra yet to come in as well, down in GT Cup Open Europe. So in terms of GT Open cars, 4 left, but the car effectively leading on track in GT Cup Open Europe remains out on circuit. Antonio Combra will hand over to Luis Silva. Vistante does not have to hand the car over to anyone. Doesn't have anyone to hand it to, but he will. He still does have to come in. There's Sally Ulick getting himself ready to go. He's going to jump in for Charlie Eastwood, and unsurprisingly, they don't have time for 1 more. So everyone's going to be in this lap. So Coder, Eastwood, Klein, Nezov will all be in. I can see Alexander Mosiv there in the green and white suit, getting ready to jump in. Here's Marcelo Hahn. He's about to jump in for Alan Coder. It's your championship leader in Pro-Am. Only by a handful of points, hence the handicap of 90 seconds. 15 seconds more than most. There is Charlie Eastwood, comes in. Sally Ulick getting ready to go into the car. Out goes Charlie, in goes Sally. Let's see what he can do. They were in that fight with the Lazarus car. They are in the pits for pretty much longer than anyone else, given their results over the last couple of races, 100 seconds. So a long stop in the pits. That's 25 seconds more than anyone else. So it's fair to say that Sally has been given a bit of a task on his hands. But Charlie bringing it in a good position for them. Let's see what Sally can do. You don't win Le Mans by luck, so let's see what they can do. They're thinking more championship, though. It's not you're not going to go and win every race to win the championship. The best they can do now is get as many points as they can and keep the gap close to Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos. They've dropped it to 4 points. So damage limitation for them in this race. That's going to be the aim of the game. I think they'll know they're not going to go and win it, but it's all about just trying to concede as less points as they can. So cars coming back out. That's the Kaprinski car you just saw. Here comes Sally Ulick down the pit lane. He now goes out onto the circuit. And now we know exactly what the situation is, basically. So this is Sally Ulick, just ahead of one of the McLarens. Oh, it's getting a little bit close. Behind that's Alexander Mosiv. There's the 57 that is behind. So this is Bar Baric. Sally Ulick having just come out of the pits. He's going to have potentially his hands full straight away here. He's got that Barbaric car all over the back of him as they make their way now down through Curva Grande, down towards the second chicane, and Sally Ulick just having to defend there from Barbaric, who is now in 7th place. So this is the battle for 6th that we have. Having immediately come out to the pit lane, Sally's got his hands full here of Barbaric, who's going to try and go all the way around the outside. The Israeli driver not quite able to get through. Sally Ulick just keeping him on the outside there. Going around the outside of Lesmo 2 can almost be impossible, as demonstrated, as they now make their way down to Ascari. In the background, we've got Yannick Mettler, yesterday's winners, Alexander Mosey, the AM winners from yesterday, sitting there in 9th place as they charge down under the bridge up towards the Ascari chicane. Oh, and Barbaric thinking about a move there. Sally Ulick now coming through Ascari in that red Aston Martin behind the number 57. New entry for this weekend, the third Terry Martin Motorsport car on the entry list. Barbaric in the car, just behind though. Yannick Mettler took pole position yesterday and also brought that car into the pit lane in the lead. Crestani did the rest. As they now make their way down the start-finish straight, but Mettler's got his hands full as well with Alexander Mosey. So let's do a full run-through of the grid. It doesn't look like Baric is going to be able to make a move, although he will signal to Sally that he is certainly intending to do so. So this is the situation. Your championship leaders, Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez, have a lead of 14 seconds. That should be more than enough for them to go on and take victory. They didn't have the closest of leads, but they did have that. They did have the number 16 right behind them before the pit stops, but Marcelo Hahn and Alan Coder were carrying a 15-second handicap. Hence, they are now at 14 seconds back in 2nd place. Then it is Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret. They sit in 3rd place, so they've jumped up during the pit stop phase, hence to the fact that they aren't really carrying a handicap, and they are now only 3 seconds back from the Marcelo Hahn car. Patrick Kaprinski sits in 4th place, 1.5 seconds back from that. So the battle for 2nd is the main area of focus in terms of your podium places. Angelo Negro then sits 5th place, 3rd in class, having taken over the car from Stefan Ortelli. And then after that, we are watching the battle for 6th place here. Sally Ulick and Barbaric. Yannick Mettler in 8th place. Alexander Mosey is 1.9 seconds back from these guys there. The green and white Mercedes, if you just look at the top of your picture, that's your AM leader. But Ollie Milroy, Joe Osborne closing in very quickly. The 2 Optimum Motorsport drivers, the 2 Pro drivers just behind that. Then it is Jens Lieberhauser. Aldo Bastante leads in GT Cup Open, 5.6 seconds ahead of Luis Silva. Then it's Manuel Cerqueda. Sadly, we've lost Daniele Diamato, the RS Racing team. So there's your full run through, 2/3 of the race pretty much completed now as we pick up your race leader in the number 59. Gives you an idea of how far ahead they are of that battle for 6th place. Huge advantage for Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez, and they are only building on that with every single lap. It's up to 17.3 seconds. There is Enrique Chavez. They come downhill now. I think that was just talking about maybe what happened at the first corner. We have been told all the handicaps are okay, and that wasn't the case yesterday, so that's good news. It was investigated that first corner, but no further action was the end result from the stewards. Of course, it was just a mistake, wasn't it, from Chavez, ran wide under braking, and everyone else sort of had to take avoiding action, but not exactly a deliberate mistake. It was just one of those things. But here's your battle for 2nd place. You can see the 16 of Marcelo Hahn just ahead of Vincent Abriel. Patrick Kaprinski is dropping back from this. He was about 1.5 seconds back from this last time we checked in with it when we did our run through. Now he's almost 4, so he's falling away, is Patrick Kaprinski. He is the AM driver in that team. Marcelo Hahn, having been given the car, doing the best he can to hold off Vincent Abriel, but it seems only a matter of time, doesn't it? Abriel closing in very quickly. Now, Ollie Milroy, the first of the Optimum cars, has closed in on Alexander Mosey, so there's going to be a change there. Barbaric continues to pile the pressure on Sally Ulick. Yannick Mettler 1.7 seconds back from them. He's going to be doing his best to get involved as well as we make our way down towards the second chicane. Less than 20 minutes to go now, so we're getting towards the end phases of this International GT Open race. This is where the battles really start to erupt, this one being one of them. Abriel versus Marcelo Hahn. That AF Corsa, though, has really struggled when it comes to overtaking. At times it hasn't struggled for pace, but in terms of making overtakes, it has just struggled, unfortunately. Just don't seem to have the straight line speed on the other cars out there. And that was proven yesterday when the car of Abriel and Pret was just stuck behind the Optima Motorsport cars for a number of laps. The number 7 car just couldn't get through, and that's nothing against Optima Motorsport. That's more, it was a case that other cars got past him and that car, and then he still didn't get past. But he's about to make a move, is he? No. Into the final corner, had a look, but that suggested that they were struggling a little bit. But running wide there, Marcelo Hahn is going to quite literally open up the door and say, come through. And Abriel's going to say, thank you very much, into second place. So move isn't fully completed yet, though. You can see down the straight, there's just an example of the legs that the McLaren has over that Ferrari as they go down towards the first corner. Abriel's going to have to do this one under braking and does so. Move complete. So good job. Uses a bit of curb to help slow the car down. And Abriel absolutely nailed that one. Looked very quick on the exit as well. So through they go. And Abriel into second at 20 seconds behind the Teo Martin Motorsport car. Doesn't seem possible, does it? You're going to have to be... you never would have thought how I'd work this maths out, but you're going to have to be over a second quicker each lap at least to close it down. Oh no, that's Sally Ulick facing the wrong way. Now, you only assume that he's had contact with Bar Barrage. Sally Ulick stuck at the first chicane. This could be a safety car. If he can't get that car going, that's in a pretty dangerous position, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see the safety car on standby. I hope Sally Ulick can get going. Right, this is it. So Sally Ulick is the car at the front of this. He turns into the corner. Oh, he's just been T-boned, hasn't he? The number 57 has just clattered straight into the side of him, having a battle of his own. Oh, there you can see Bar Barrage has just got it all wrong into there. And Sally Ulick, the innocent victim in that one. Let's hope that they can get going again. It's already gone under investigation, and the safety car has been deployed. So safety car is out. That's bad news for Miguel Ramos, your championship leaders, with 20 seconds. The safety 20 seconds lead. The safety car has now been deployed. I can see it out the commentary box window, just getting ready to make its way out onto the circuit. But this means for Miguel Ramos that that gap is going to be diminished. There might be some cars between himself and Abriel, depending on what lapped cars were between them. But his lead is going to be naught. Now you can see the yellow flags, safety car boards are up, and we will now go behind the safety car whilst that Aston Martin gets cleared. A real shame that, considering how good a race that those guys had yesterday, finishing in second place with that drag race up to the line. A real fantastic battle to watch. But sadly, Sally Ulick's race hasn't lasted very long. Just T-boned through that first chicane. Now the car has, I think, been moved. I certainly didn't see it in the middle of the chicane. I don't know if it actually got going again, because Sally Ulick did a first sector time of 95 seconds, which would sort of suggest to me that maybe he got going, but the safety car has been deployed and the field is now going to slow down behind it. So, this is going to be exciting, isn't it? The whole field is going to bunch up and we're going to have an effective 15-minute shootout. Auto Vestante is the car that's leading them up to Ascari here, by the way. He is your leader. Works out quite nicely because he is your leader in GT Cup Open Europe. But he's going to have the same situation because Lewis Silva was closing the gap down to Auto Vestante. Here's another look at it. So to the left, that's Barbaric. At the head of the field with the headlights on is Saliulik. He gets it all wrong. Tags Saliulik, round she goes. There's another look at it. You can see Saliulik minding his own business, turning in, and then bang. That would have been a bit of a shock to the system, that. And in avoiding action, one of the other cars going through, the other car that was involved in that battle just goes straight through and takes out all the bollards with it as well. And that is the reason for the safety car, I can tell you. So there needs to be repairs done to that. So we need to put that the runoff area there where those boards are. That's why we've been brought out the safety car. So indeed, Saliulik thankfully did get going, but we have to repair those, and it looks like they have very quickly, the marshals once again working very quickly, and they have put those back in place. We need them there so the cars slow down if they take avoiding action, as just demonstrated. So cars now slowing up. There we can see them in formation. Leading them is Miguel Ramos, Vincent Abriel second in this queue, Marcelo Hahn third in this queue, Patrick Kaprinski fourth. So top four all together. And there is Saliulik, lost 60 seconds through that first sector as a result of that incident, but gets going and will just about be able to catch the pack in time, I think. So has a chance to make his way back through the field. He's going to be in 12th place. Let's go through the order then. So Miguel Ramos is first, Abriel second, then we're going to have our three Pro-Am leaders all together. And don't forget, we've got a fight for the championship lead going on there. Marcelo Hahn is going to have Patrick Kaprinski just behind him, and they're separated by just 4 points in the championship. Then we have Angelo Negro behind that, so your top three in class all together. Barbaric, who was involved in that incident and is under investigation, will be in sixth. Yannick Metler, yesterday's winners, have a chance now to make their way through to a potential overall podium. Ollie Milroy is in eighth place. Watch out for him because he was absolutely flying before the safety car came out. Alexander Mosiv leads AM, but is going to have second in AM. 2 places behind him, which will be split by Joe Osborne. Again, another to watch in the latter stages of this race. Then we'll have Jens Lieberhauser. Saliulik is on his way to catch these guys up. He's going to be in 12th. And then we'll have the GT Cup Open guys, and they've gone already. Marcelo Hahn absolutely asleep at the start there. He's been absolutely left there as they make their way up towards the start-finish line. Where is everyone else? There you can see Ramos. There you can see Abriel. And there, at last, goes Hahn and Kaprinski. So Ramos catching everyone out with that restart there. Not Vincent Abriel though. Vincent Abriel right behind him, trying to look up the inside as they go down towards the first chicane. Oh, and Abriel in the end having to take avoiding action as they went through the first chicane. Here is Yannick Metler battling away with the likes of, let's see, we've got one of the Teo Martin cars in there. Oh, and that's the number 48 AF Corsa car going across the runoff there. That's Angelo Negro, who's running in 5th place, and he's picked up some damage in the process. So Negro's got to be careful. We've got the 57 of Barbaric going around the outside here of Yannick Metler. This is for position. They are fighting for 6th place. 5th place is Angelo Negro. Just ahead is now Yannick Metler on the inside of Negro. Negro locks up, has to go straight on. So Negro could be carrying damage to that car. So Barbaric has emerged in the lead there in the 57. Here is the Bentley then of Yannick Metler. Ollie Milroy is now the car just behind. He is now in an effective 7th place as they make their way in towards Lesmo 2. Joe Osborne, his teammate, just behind him. Then we have Jens Lieberhauser. Here is your battle for the lead then. Final 10 minutes to go, and it's all going off here at Monza in the International GT Open. Round 4, race 2. Take your seats because it's going to be a great final 10 minutes. Battle for the lead, absolutely electric. Then here is the midfield battle, which involves the likes of Metler, Milroy and Osborne. Looking to the inside there, Vincent Abriel, they could really do with a win, and they have a chance to take it. They've been given a chance to win in that Ferrari on home soil. What can they do with it, though, as we go up towards the start-finish line? We've got the birthday boy ahead, celebrated his birthday, Miguel Ramos, and will want to do it in style. There's the 2 Optimum Motorsport cars. The orange and green cars are the 2 Optimum Motorsport McLarens, 2nd and 3rd in class. and 7th and 8th overall as we go in towards the first chicane. This for the 28th time now. Well, you wouldn't guess we just had a safety car, would you? The field split up there. Yannick Mettler here leading the two McLarens. This is the number 57 of Barbaric into the pit lane. So Barbaric comes through and back out again. Looking back, this is Patrick Kaprinski. He's in 4th place, but he's got a gap to the battle for 5th place. So doing a good job is Patrick Kaprinski. Just has to try and hold on, and that job of holding on might become a little bit easier with Yannick Mettler here fighting for 5th place with both Ollie Milroy and Joe Osborne. Has been a hard car to get past at times. That's been proven. Has that Bentley coming in the background as well is Jens Lieberhauser. He's not too far behind at all. There you can see the golden black, get my colours right, the golden black Mercedes. Trying to catch these guys as they go now down under the bridge. The two Optimum cars, I'm sure, will be trying to work together a little bit as we go in towards the Ascari, the chicane. Look at the battle for the lead. Miguel Ramos leading Vincent Abril. Vincent Abril's going to pull to the right of screen in the Ferrari, and he's going to try and go all the way around the outside. Here goes Vincent Abril. Can he pull off the move round the outside at Parabolica? They're going to be side by side. Oh, a little bit of contact as they come onto the start-finish straight. Abril having to take avoiding action. 7 minutes and 45 seconds to go now as we go on to lap number 29 here at race 2. They seem evenly matched, don't they? Miguel Ramos and Vincent Abril down towards the first chicane. Abril looking left and right and is going to stay behind for the time being. Brilliant racing here in International GTO. I told you it was going to be a good one. So far, so good. It's living up to expectations. Marcelo Hahn in 3rd place. He's only 4 seconds behind. So if these guys decide to battle, Marcelo Hahn isn't too far behind. Patrick Kaprinski is then just a couple seconds behind him. And in terms of lap times, they aren't split by too much. Yannick Mettler still with his hands full in 5th place of the two Optimum cars. Lieberhauser still closing in. Oh dear, Abril just running wide there, but he seems to have the run still on Miguel Ramos. Now looks to the outside at Lesmo 1. Ramos defending, so he's going to be delayed on the exit as they now come up to Lesmo 2. Through second Lesmo, and this was where Abril started to get very close last time, and he's very close this time as well as they now go downhill under the bridge at the Ascari chicane. Uphill we go, and Abril is going to try and look to the outside. He's not going to do it there. Oh, he tells the dummy. Can he get to the inside? Not quite. Ramos left him a little bit of space. Good driving as they now come out of the chicane, make their way down towards the Parabolica. Are we going to see take 2 in terms of a move around the outside? I wonder. Abril, if he gets the chance, he'll certainly give it a go. Abril, Ramos just trying to do anything he can to break the toe, and this time Abril not close enough to make a move, so he's going to sit behind as we go round the final corner to make our way onto the start-finish straight. Ramos leading Abril as we now head down the start-finish straight, approaching the final 5 minutes of this race, and it is absolutely neck and neck for the lead. McLaren versus Ferrari. Who is going to emerge as the winner? Ramos leading Abril, these two fighting for the lead in the championship. Oh no, Abril looks up under brakes, almost goes into the back of Ramos there. It's very close, isn't it? Abril just locking up there and was doing anything he can, was weaving just to try and not go straight into the back of Miguel Ramos. Up towards the second chicane we go now. 4.5 seconds back is Marcelo Hahn, and leading Pro-Am Patrick Kaprinski is 4th. This is the battle for 5th place. Yannick Mettler with Milroy and Osborne behind in that order as they now come down to the second chicane. Very close battle for 5th, but although the two Optimum Motorsport cars behind will want to work together, they're also battling for the last step on the Pro-Am podium as we now look back at Abril looking to the outside at Lesmo 2. He's going to be right on the tail of Miguel Ramos, almost pushing him down towards the Ascari chicane. It's now on lap number 30 in race number 2. Are we going to see a dive down the outside here from Vincent Abril? Last time he solved the dummy and then went back down the outside, but Ramos wise to it this time. This is going to give Vincent Abril the run down towards the final corner, surely, as they now make their way out of the Ascari chicane. Good defending so far for Ramos, but he's got another 4.5 minutes of it now as we go down towards the final corner. Vincent Abriel not quite close enough, so Ramos has the legs on him, going down towards the Parabolica on this lap. It's all about the exit now. Oh dear, and Ramos running a little bit wide mid-corner, and that's given the run to Abriel. Abriel now with the run as they go up towards the start-finish line. Any second now, he will pull to the outside as they go past the start-finish line. Waiting behind is Abriel, waiting for the braking zone. Here he now comes to the inside. There's space there, and Abriel's going to go for it down the inside. Can he get the car stopped in time? Oh, just about. Ramos trying to hold on around the outside, but Abriel's done it. Brilliant driving. Vincent Abriel takes the lead from Miguel Ramos, and that's the reaction from the AF Corsa team. Fantastic move from Vincent Abriel, and now Miguel Ramos, what have you got? Is he going to be able to fight back? Oh, what a brilliant move that was. I don't know how on earth he got the car stopped in time, but very good driving in the end, just to squeeze Ramos just a little bit and say, no way are you going around the outside of me, son. And Vincent Abriel, in the end, did everything right, and a deserved move to take the lead. Is he going to be able to get a win on home soil for Ferrari? That would be absolutely fantastic if Abriel could, for the team, get a win on home soil. Here we go then, so there's just about enough room on the inside. It's going to be hard to get the car slowed down there. Did everything he could. Now the car's stopped. Here comes Ramos to try and take that place back. A little bit of curve from Abriel. Oh, and just squeezes him in the end. Here's another look at it. So he's got the car stopped. He stayed in track limits. Now he has to take the curb to get around the second part of it. And as he gets on the power, he's just going to politely say to Ramos, thank you very much, I'm coming through. Yes, see Stefan Ortelli jumping up and down there. Great reaction from the AF Corsa team. Worthy of it. 1.5 minutes remaining, and 1.5 seconds is your gap between your two leaders. On this lap, Vincent Abriel has extended his lead in terms of the second and third sectors. He's extended his lead by 0.4 of a second. The race still not over. Miguel Ramos very much could come back at him here. Here is your battle for 5th place between Yannick Mettler, Ollie Milroy and Joe Osborne. Still fighting away in it. It's a battle for the last step on the Pro-Am podium as well between the two Optimum cars, but they just can't quite seem to get the run down the straight on that Bentley. Now, championship-wise, this is very good news for Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret, because they had dropped to 3rd in the championship. They are currently on 62 points. Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood are 69 points, but they're down in 10th, so immediately Abriel is going to go past them. Sally Ulick is only going to, Charlie Eastwood are currently only going to score 1 point. Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret will score 15, so they go past Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood, and they will go 6 points ahead of them, and they will close the gap to Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez by 3 points. So it'll close to 8 points going into the next round, which was pretty much what it was coming into this round. It was 7 points coming into this round, so they'll leave this round 1 point further back, which I think that they will take. But I say that, and as I say that, the gap is coming down. Miguel Ramos has brought the gap down to your race leader by 0.2 of a second. We are approaching the final lap of the race now. The cars are making their way through the final sector. They will be coming around the final corner very shortly to start a new lap. Here is Luis Silva. He's 3 seconds back from Manuel Cerqueda, who is up into 2nd. As I say that, the cars come by the commentary box window and they start their final lap of the race. But here are your 3 GT Cup Open cars, pretty much all in view of each other. That is the 48 of Angelo Negro, down in 12th place. This is Manuel Cerqueda, 2nd in GT Cup Open Europe. But final lap, and the gap has come down by 0.4 of a second. Miguel Ramos really closing in on Vincent Abriel, so the race is far from finished yet. Vincent Abriel has got to keep a clean pair of heels on this final lap. Miguel Ramos throwing everything he can at it. Another 0.3 through the first sector. Miguel Ramos is closing in as we go through the final lap here at Monza. Abriel, has he just about got enough in the tank? Ramos doing everything he can as they go through the Lesmos for the final time. winning with a Ferrari on Monza is any racing driver's dream, and Vincent Abriel very close to potentially making that dream come true as he now goes down under Ascari. The gap remains 8/10 of a second. It's now gone up to 1.3, and through that second sector, I think Abriel has done enough here to go on and take the win. Out of the final corner, they now make their way down the start-finish straight. What a result this would be for Vincent Abriel as he comes down towards the final corner. Vincent Abriel with a fantastic move, one of the moves of the season. Looks like he's about to secure a race win for AF Corsa at Monza, just like they did back in 2015. Up to the line, AF Corsa are going to win in Monza. Vincent Abriel will take the checkered flag. Fantastic result from the number 17. Vincent Abriel wins in Monza. Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez will finish in second place, and Alan Coder and Marcelo Hahn will win in Pro-Am and finish on the overall podium. Patrick Koprinski and Christian Klein finish fourth and second in class. Yannick Mettler and Fabrizio Crestani finish in fifth, and rounding out the Pro-Am podium will be Ollie Milroy. Brilliant stuff for Ollie Milroy in that number 7. He and Brendan Irie round out the Pro-Am podium. Joe Osborne and Nick Moss will finish in 7th place. Lieberhauser takes the win in the AM class. He will extend his championship lead by a further point over Alexei Nezov and Alexander Mosey. Sally Ulick in the end, he and Charlie Eastwood recover to round out the points in 10th. But coming around the final corner, he's going to do the double on home soil. Aldo Vestante, it's another win for him this season, and 2 wins at Monza. Fantastic driving from Aldo Vestante. Had to put up with that safety car to do it, but Aldo Vestante kept cool under pressure, and he takes the race win. Manuel Cerqueda and Daniel Diaz Varela will finish in second. Luis Silva rounding out the podium. Well, whew, take a breath. What a fantastic result that was. Your winner is going to be the AF Corsa of Vincent Pret. Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret. That's what they should be called. They take the win. AF Corsa took the win here back in 2015, and they are on the top step once again. Fantastic driving from them, from Vincent Abriel, Louis Pret. They win. Ramos and Chavez second. Hahn and Coder, your prime winners. Then it's Koprinski and Klein, Crestani and Mettler, Irie, Milroy, Moss and Osborne, Schultz and Lieberhauser and winners. Nezov and Moiseev, Ulick and Eastwood, after being tagged, finished down in 10th place. Then it's Baruch and Hahn after their drive-through. Ortelli and Negro. Aldo Vestante wins GT Cup Open Europe. Diaz Varela, Cerqueda, our second. Combra and Silva third. Sadly, Diamato and Vezzoni did not finish the race after an incident earlier on. They retired in the end after picking up some problems. So, championship-wise, I did try and work it out, and I think I worked it out just about correctly. Chavez and Ramos lead by 8 points. Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood, despite that result, are definitely not out of this one. They're 15 points back. Then it's Marcelo Hahn in 4th. Klein and Koprinski, 5th place. Nick Moss is in 6th. You can see just how close Hahn, Klein, Koprinski, Moss are. It's just about that close in Pro-Am as well. But there is your winners. It's all about AF Corsa today. Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret taking the win. What a move it was as well to take the win. I'm sure we're going to hear all about it in post-race interviews. Miguel Ramos, well, on his birthday weekend, couldn't quite take the victory. The safety car going against him on this occasion, but the safety car brought Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret back into play, and Vincent Abriel made the most of that opportunity that came his way, and he went on to take a victory. Good driving from Marcelo Hahn and Alan Coder as well. Both of them put in very good stunts, and both of them very good shifts, and they went on to take the win in Pro-Am. So there is your race winners, Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret. Vincent Abriel jumping out of the car. Louis Pret there. Great stuff from the pair of them. That win must feel good. for the team as well, particularly. But when you do it like that, with a move like that, for a racing driver, that's a very good win. And great to see Miguel Ramos shaking hands there. Enrique Chavez likewise. A good race from the pair of them. They put on a really good show, so I think both can be happy. And championship-wise, that's a very good result for Miguel Ramos. In terms of, you know, the drivers that were closest to them, Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood, they've extended the gap over them. And damage limitation in terms of Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret. So good driving from Miguel Ramos in the end. Did everything he could and was closing in towards the end, but couldn't quite hold on. So second place, though, another podium for them. And Marcelo Hahn and Adam Coder, they're going to be absolutely delighted with that. Marcelo Hahn extending his lead now in the Pro-Am class over Christian Klein and Patrick Kaprinski. It's going to go up to, I think, about 6 points now. Celebrations all round. Let's remind ourselves of the top three then before we hear from our winner. So finishing in third place then, Marcelo Hahn and Alan Coder. Third place overall, and with it they win the Pro-Am class, and Marcelo Hahn extends his lead in the championship. The fight went down to the wire. Miguel Ramos did everything he could to hold off, but unfortunately in the end just missing out. But a second place overall and a good result for the championship. They remain in the lead, but closing the gap to them in the championship and taking the win in style with one of the moves of the season, Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret. Let's go and hear from our race winners now.
Louis Pret, Vincent Abriel, victory at Monza, the third of the season, and a special one, of course. It's always Monza, and it's a Ferrari that you drive. Not an easy weekend, Louis.
No, definitely not an easy weekend for us. We've been very slow on pace. I mean, in practice, in qualifying, we were really far, and we managed as a team to stay focused, and we knew that the result could come today. So, I mean, Vince did such an amazing job in today's race. He really did the job. So, I mean, thanks to him, and we're still in for the championship, and we'll see what we can do in the two next races.
Vincent, the safety car helped a bit, but still, you had one car to pass.
Yeah, not an easy one. I mean, as the championship leaders, we know that it was going to be a fight. He gave me a run for my money. I didn't expect less, but it was tough a few times. We touched a bit here and there, but always fair. And I think that's the best thing. Thank you to A, of course. Thanks to Ferrari for giving us such a good car. And yeah, as Louis touched upon, we had a difficult weekend. On pace, we were definitely not there, but we managed as a team to stay focused and executed at a high level. So I'm very happy for all the team that stayed focused today.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good job. See you at the podium.
Brilliant job from Abriel and Louis Pret. Likewise, Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez. Brilliant racing, all one. Let's go and hear from Aldo Vestante now.
Aldo Vestante, second victory of the weekend, and really looked like you had fun, especially after the restart, attacking some of the GT3 cars.
Yeah, we gave it all. We really went for it. I pushed like an animal in the first stint because I knew I needed a big advantage to be P1 after the stops, and I'm really happy. The car was fantastic. Good strategy, good team. Everything was in line today, and we brought it home. Second victory, like two victories in a weekend. Yeah, kind of wish for much more.
No, you can't, and it's good for the championship. Well done.
Race that started around 60 minutes ago, and here is how it got underway. 3 wide going down towards the first corner. This on board with Stefan Ortelli as he tried to make his way through. Enrique Chavez starting at the front there. We had the Bentley run over the curb, likewise Christian Klein with nowhere to go, but everyone just about made it through safely otherwise. Battling for the lead, the RS Racing Cars was one of the stars of the show at the start. The number 25 with Daniele Diamato fighting his way through from the back end of the top 10 to get up the field. Alexei Nezov was another there in the green and white Mercedes, the AM driver fighting with Christian Klein. Halfway through, then we had the pit stops as ever. There was our race leaders going in. When they come in, the number 16 took over the race lead. Aldo Vestante was leading in GT Cup Open Europe when he came in. When we resumed, it was Miguel Ramos leading the way as our Pro-Am leaders came in. This was the moment that Charlie Eastwood would hand over to Sally Ulick. Fighting continued, though, in the second half of the race, eventful as it always is. Unfortunately, Sally Ulick, though very short into his stint, would be tagged round by Bar Barrich, and then we had the barriers exploded, and that would bring out the safety car. When we got going, the number 59 versus the 17 was the story of the race. Yannick Medler was trying his best to hold off the rest of the field. Angelo Negro there locking up the tyres, but this was the move that won the race. Vincent Abriel diving down the inside, just about getting the car stopped, and on the exit, asserting his place in the lead, and he'd go on to take the win for AF Corsa on home soil. In GT Cup Open Europe, a little bit behind that, Aldo Vestante would do the double on home soil and extend his lead in the championship. Smiles all round at AF Corsa and Ombra Racing as well. So it's time for the podium. This was the move once again. Look at this. So this was the race-winning move. Let us know what you think of it online. I thought that one was a very good move as they came around the final corner. That is the moment. Abriel won the race for AF Corsa. They were pretty happy down there. Their reaction actually when the move was made was great, I have to say. But there is your top three on the podium. Hahn and his teammate to the right-hand side of screen, Hahn and Coder. Italian national anthem playing out for the AF Corsa team here at Monza. No better feeling than that, I'm sure, when standing on the top step. They did the double here back in 2015, AF Corsa. And here they return to the top step. It's another win for them this season. Now their third win. They won race 2 at Hungaroring, race 2 at Paul Ricard, and well, unsurprisingly, this is race 2 as well. Their worst result on a Sunday is second, so they go very well on Sundays. And there you can see fans going round now. Next we'll have, of course, we've got to do our GT Cup Open Europe podium. We've got to do our Pro-Am and our Am as well, so more drivers to get up onto the top step. So a reminder of our top 3 then in the Pro-Am class. Brendan Irib and Ollie Milroy, 6th overall and 3rd place in the Pro-Am class. Finishing second, Christian Klein qualified 5th. He and Patrick Koprinski would move up to 4th overall and 2nd in class. Great driving from the pair of them. But taking the race win in the Pro-Am class, they qualified on the front row overall, and Alan Coder would bring the car in 2nd. Marcelo Hahn would do the rest, finish 3rd overall after that safety car, and would win the race. So to the right of picture, Irib and Milroy to the left, Koprinski and Klein, but here come your winners, Marcelo Hahn and Alan Coder coming onto the top step. They won as a pair on the Sunday last year as well, so their form continues. 2 wins on the bounce as a pairing together. Great stuff from all 3 of them. Trophies will now go aloft. Lots of pictures taken, and Marcelo Hahn and Alan Coder, they raced well together around here. 2 on the bounce. They'll certainly go for a hat-trick next time we're here. And to the right there, Ollie Milroy and Brendan Irib is giving the thumbs up. So Am will be next. We'll get those guys on to the podium. After that will be GT Cup Open Europe, as the Pro-Am guys just return to the pits. Well, we'll wait for them to come up. Just to remind you, next will be at Spa, and then after that we will head to Monza. At Monza? We're at Monza, Barcelona. Sorry, it's been a long race. Not in that way, in the sense that a lot happened in that race. So I'm struggling to remember my own name at times. Let's remind you who finished where, though. This is your winner, Jens Liebhauser and Florian Schultz, taking the race win in Am. Brilliant drive from the JP Motorsport car, so they get, it's kind of 1-1 now between Alexei Nezov and Alexander Moseev, who are on the left of screen there. Jens Liebhauser and Florian Schultz taking the race win. Good driving from them. This championship battle is going to go to the wire. There's no doubt about that. 4 races remaining over 2 weekends. As you can see, it's very hard to tell sometimes who's going to walk away with the win. There's no clear favourites in either class. It's going to be fantastic racing to the end. GT Cup Open Europe, podium to come, and then we will close the show here at Monza for International GT Open round number 4.